Oh, Tashidele, everyone. Tashidele, I hope everyone is doing good. And welcome back to the Lojong session. Oh, yeah. So before we start the actual teaching, take a few moments, a few minutes to do some practice together, as usual is in the past. Recitation of your mantras, dedicating, overall for the world peace, happiness of sentient being, to overcome overall samsaric sufferings. Then, due to individual or the collective karma, at this very stage, there are a lot of sufferings caused by natural disasters, man-made, conflicts, war. Then this pandemic, there's so many sufferings are going around, global level as well as in individual level. So by dedicating this practice to overcome that, so we do the practice setting refuge, proper refuge, and bodhicitta motivation. Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonala Janju Bardo Dani Jazunje Daji Jinzoje Bezonamje Dola Benje Sanje Drubarai Jo Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonala Janju Bardo Dani Jazunje Daji Jinzoje Bezonamje Dola Benje Sanje Drubarai Jo Sanje Jodan Zoje Jonala Janju Bardo Dani Jazunje Daji Jinzoje Bezonamje Dola Benje Sanje Drubarai Jo Kange doje ne zone dawa damje bombe jere dambe june denje be godam de lan ja ze lo do ni ni je zon do ju be lam ze je zen je kanje den de ge chana be mo den jin yang zon la so wa de zon da ju jin je semje damje dewa dan dewe ju dan dembra ju je semje damje donga dan donga je ju dan dawa ju je semje damje donga me ben dewa dan me dawa ju je semje damje nyere cha dan ni dan dawe tanyo la ne bra ju ro je semje damje dewa dan dewe ju dan dembra ju je semje damje donga dan donga je ju dan dawa ju je semje damje donga me ben dewa dan me dawa ju je semje damje nyere cha dan ni dan dawe tanyo la ne bra ju ro je semje damje dewa dan dewe ju dan dembra ju je semje damje donga dan donga je ju dan dawa ju je semje damje donga me ben dewa dan me dawa ju je semje damje nyeri ja dan ni dan da tanyo la ne bara joro je doje gola nyembe Shadongolo Jeve Javona Jendongo was on Buzanilla, Galaganda, the Zumba Jere Zilla Chance. Om mani beme home, 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 mani beme Om mani beme hum 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 mani beme Om mani beme hum 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 mani beme Om mani beme dayada om muni muni ma muni zoha 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 Om Ahum Benzaram Guru Bema Zede 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 Mime Zeve Derje Jereze Deme Jembe Ombo Jambe Yang Debo Male Jonze Zavenda Kanji Jembe Zuje Zonga Ba Loza Dabe Jala Zuhande Mime Zeve Derje Jereze Deme Jembe Ombo Jambe Yang Debo Male Jonze Zavenda Kanji Jembe Zuje Zonga Lozanda Bejala Zoade, Mimeze Derjen Jerezi, Teme Jembe Ombo Jambeya, De Bomale Jonze Saveda, Kanji Jembe Zuye Zonga Ba, Lozanda Bejala Zoad. Mimeze Derjen Jerezi, Teme Jembe Ombo Jambeya, De Bomale Jonze Saveda, Kanji Jembe Zuye Zonga Ba, Lozanda Bejala Zoad. Mimeze Derjen Jerezi, Teme Jembe Ombo Jambeya, De Bomale Jonze Saveda, Kanji Jembe Zuye Zonga Ba, Lozanda Beshala Zoa Om Dare Dure Soha 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 Tayadam Om Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Tayadam Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Tayadam Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Tayadam Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Tayada Om Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Tayada Om Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Tayada Om Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Tayada Om Beganze Ma Beganze Ranja Samunga de Soha Om Mari Zemam Zoha 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 Daye Jawa Tamje Dan Kebra Yela Sambe De Denye Keme Sejun De Dubala Me Jinje Lo Daja Chungwe Jinje Lo Daja Mejo Yansa Sende semele jowe jeba gule nyudo jabdo zo jewa de nyudo dan woze jema do june do waje jama leba de zala go barai jo jambe bawe jidra jemba dan gwendo zambo de yan de jinje de da gwenje jeso da lo Jawa de da tam je rab do ngo de zo je be jawa tam je de ngo wa kan la jo do nga ba de da je je we za wa de gwen ja sambo je rab do ngo ba je sem je ne ba je ne ba nyu do ne le da je do we ne ne ma le ba da do jo wa me ba jo Pamazimje damje tendan tenjurje, ngendo damje tado duwa dang, janju zemba ganan suju bang, deta kunje molan chujurje, bedang zohan mikebe, yeje no wabazan, semje rewa kuzebe, zamba jejen drebe, daje yo. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we are studying new texts from the great collections of Lojong treatise. And we are studying the text titled Stages of the Heroic Mind, Attribute to Selingpa. And if you are using same collection of texts, then we are on page 177. Yeah, so Lama Selingpa, as we all know, is one of the principal guru of the Kadamba lineage master, Great Lama Atisha, whose main mandala is in Indonesia, where Atisha traveled with a great hardship, very much under the guidance of Mother Tara, to actualize the sweetest path, the most effective path to actualize full enlightenment for the benefit of all numberless sentient beings, which is the altruism, the practice of bodhicitta. So Atisha traveled to receive the transmission, on bodhicitta lineage, especially the lineage based on 7 cause and effect, that very much derive from the profound, the drive from the extensive lineage, starting from Buddha Maitreya, then all the way to Selingpa, and now to Atisha, then all the earlier, starting from the Tibetan great master of the earlier Kadamba, starting from Geshe Zopa, then all the way up to today, our living masters like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, etc. So very much, the blessing that we have today in relation to this Golden Dharmas, this secret Dharma, most effective antidote to our samsaric life, in particularly, most effective antidote to the root cause of all the problem, samsara, the self-cherishing and self-grasping attitude, which is the altruistic dharma of bodhicitta and emptiness. Very much due to the kindness of the great preservation, both in learning and realization on the path, by great Selingpa, etc. So, so this is the teaching, the attribute to Selingpa. Oh, the name, the stages of the heroic mind. So the teaching, from the name, from the title, we can roughly sum up the main themes of the teaching, which is very much discussion on the stages of the bodhisattvas mind, or the Buddhi mind, or the enlightened mind, which is referring to bodhicitta, or the altruistic attitude. Then there's the homage to the yogi of loving kindness. Homage to the yogi of loving kindness. So first pay homage in order to the compiling of this teaching. Um, so pay homage to yogi of loving kindness is referring to Maitriyogi. So here, paying homage to one another most important lineage guru of Atisha, the Maitriyogic, and who during that period, one of the supreme master to hold the Mahayanic, Dharma, in particularly the Lojong lineage, that which again channeled to Atisha, and from there, up to today, starting from the later Kadamba master, earlier and the later Kadamba masters of the Tibet, up to today, all these teachings are available because of Maitri Yogic's great preservation, again, both in extensive transmission to the ripened disciples, as well as, actualizing the stages of the realization within himself. So here, so paying homage to Maitri Yogi. So this text, there are 4 chapters. The first chapter, very much the presentations of the ground, the affliction, the teaching on the presentations of the ground, the affliction, very much focus on emphasizing the negations, to educate us what the negations are. Then this particular chapter, the first part, very much illustrating the motivation and the historical evidence or the background of how these teachings came from, or how these teachings are transmitted, the Selingpa to Atisha, etc. Then the second part of the teaching is the actual presentations of the the negation, which is the ground of the ground, the negation, by knowing the negation, the exact spot where you're going to apply the antidote, then that way you can able to overcome the negation. So due to that reason, first present the ground, the affliction. Then the second chapter, very much teaching on the contrary force, the antidote. Once you know the negation, then you have to know the antidote. There's the common antidote and the individual direct antidotes. Then through application of that, you can able to eradicate the negation. Then the third chapter is a teaching on humiliating on one's own negative mental continuum. So very much like in engagement of the antidote, by seeing the faults and the disadvantages of the negations, by humiliating them, by understanding the disadvantage of the negations. Then the fourth chapter is teaching on the cultivation of the power of tainted virtue. So the not just purifying the negations, but we also need to develop all the virtues, which are the stages of the path. So that way, the continuum can able to actualize the perfection in all the qualities up to enlightenment. Right? So So like that. So this is the presentation of the power of tended virtues, like that. Okay. So even though in the Tibetan, the root text, not really provided verse by verse, is very much, there's no pause of, verse by verse. But here in the English translation, they put verse by verse for easy capturing of the overall, meaning of the verses, which is very helpful. So um, so I will try not to go through the detailed kind of commentaries, but very much brief the meaning or the brief meaning of each verses or the each line or something like that. There are many different ways of offering the transmission. Many different ways of commentary, to the various treatises. So I will do just one part of them, and yeah, and also the verses and the lines are so easy to understand and so easy to capture the meaning. So when we study this text, most importantly, for us to relate, those teaching within our own self, take it like a mirror to see, to examine our own self, our own mind, and take into account to one's own practice. So I think that's the main purpose. In particularly when we study Lojong teachings, is really it's not something that is studied now and you will practice later. The moment you see the teaching, then as it is, take as one's own mindset, one's own guide to the way of life. So then the teaching can be very very beneficial, like that. Okay, so the first verse in the English translation here, it says, in samsara's realm, you endure the hardship. You help vanquish the selfishness of all beings. You do not cover before dangers and calamities. To you, O heroes, I respectfully bow my hat. So this is again the specific homage, and each of the verses also has its own homage that also make up each chapter, stand on its own complete teaching. So here, paying homage to all heroes, bodhisattvas, respectfully bow my hat, respectfully offer venerations to them. The bodhisattvas who in the samsara realm, for the benefit of numberless sentient beings, you endure the hardship. You who help vanquish the selfishness of all beings, you do not cower before dangers and calamities in order to benefit others. So these are the qualities of the bodhisattva. So these are the practice of the bodhisattva. Therefore, you are object of veneration, and I respectfully bow my hat. So that's talking about that. Then second verse, to to nurture the tradition of the Sugatas, just like the great courageous king, I shall think only of others' welfare, and definitely exchange self and others. To nurture the traditions of Sugatas, Buddhas of the past and present. Mm. And then just like the great courageous king, the future Buddhas, like such as the present bodhisattvas, similar like them, and to preserve the Buddha's teaching and the bodhisattvas practice. I shall think only for others' welfare. For in order to follow the the example of the past, present, future Buddhas, then the way to do that is, to overcome the self-centeredness, the self-cherishing attitude, and live a life in the concern of the well-being of rest of the numberless sentient beings, others welfare, uh, and definitely exchange, definitely exchange self and others. So by doing so, then develop one's heart, come to a point that completely able to exchange the self-cherishing to the cherishing of the well-being of others. So it's talking about that. So in this verse, the Sugatas can refer to past Buddhas, like such as Buddha earlier, the four fortunate Buddhas, Shakyamuni Buddhas, then all the other Buddhas. Then here the courageous king can refer to the Bodhisattva great-hearted, the Bodhisattva great-hearted from the Tiger's story, from Jataka tale, or even when you read the Golden Light Sutra, I think chapter 8 maybe. The tiger is from the Tiger's story. There are two Bodhisattvas. The previous life of Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, the history of Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, called the Bodhisattva great-hearted, Chanchu Sempa Nyingdopchen. So it's talking about courageous king here, talking about him and alike. So I shall think only for the welfare. I here, we can understand that the Selingpa, very much teaching like Atisha, how to motivate, one's directions of life, so I shall think only for the well-being, like teaching, teaching to overcome the self-cherishing mind and dedicate life for the benefit of numberless sentient beings. You can also understand that we can understand ourselves, whoever read this teaching, whoever is listening, not just Atisha, whoever, whoever learned this teaching, then we should change, the motivation of our life from the usual way to extraordinary way, like the past Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by changing the self-cherishing to the cherishing of well-being of others. Then eventually, to become the just like the courageous king Bodhisattva and the past, Tathagatas, the Sugatas, the way is by definitely exchanging self with the others. That's the only way to do so. So from here, we ourselves, to understand very clearly if we aspire, if we admire, if we venerate Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, if we admire and cherish, the attitude of great compassion, great love, bodhicitta, and great wisdom, then there's only one way. And there's only one way that we can able to achieve those by overcoming the self-cherishing attitude and developing the cherishing attitude, the well-being of all the rest of the others, then developing our heart in the realization of complete, exchange self and others. And that way, we can achieve the resultant, bodhisattvahood and resultant Buddhahood like that. So verse 3, for this I whose heart is hardened, call upon the Sugatas and the scripture as my witness. And in your presence, O heroes who embody the essence, in words of the desperation, I beseech you for this instruction. So the verse 2 is very much, like if we read Lamrim, then there's a section, how to prepare ourselves as a prepared listener to the Dharma, how to correctly listen to the Dharma. It's very much, talking about the qualities of the student or the listener. And the third verse here, the sincere requests that Atisha met in relation to receiving this hidden Dharma, from Selingpa. So on the first line, for this I, the I can refer to Atisha, whose heart is hardened, who, Atisha, humbly expressing, the hardened heart here, referring to the self-centered heart, the self-cherishing attitude. Call upon the Sugatas and scriptures as my witness, you call upon the past, present, future Buddhas, as well as the holy object like the scriptures as my witness, witness of my commitment. And in your present, in your present here, in the present of here, your can understand the Selingpa in your present, So Buddhas and these Buddhas and the holy scriptures as a witness, and that you are determined to receive this teaching. So therefore, you are expressing the request of this teaching to Selingpa in your present, or heroes who embody the essence. So saying, Atisha saying to Selingpa, you as bodhisattva, who, or heroes, you and are like the bodhisattvas who embody the essence of the altruistic Dharma, embody the essence of the altruistic Dharma, who is actual bodhisattva. Then Atisha, in the word of such a desperation, then Selingpa here, the Atisha is such a desperation of request, then I beseech you for this instruction. I beseech you for this instruction. So I here can refer to Selingpa. Then you can refer to Atisha, for this instruction, for this particular teaching. So from here also we can understand that the importance of to receive the transmission, the actual blessings of the Dharma. It is important to present the sincerity from the disciple side, from the listener side. Then you have to request the teaching. Even the teacher, may have omniscient, may have the altruistic heart like bodhicitta, is solely dedicated one's life to benefit sentient being. But when it comes to revealing the Dharma, the listener only can receive the actual blessing of Dharma when the listener, fully prepared with the pure container, and with the sincere, requests, wholehearted requests. So that way, then even one word of Dharma will cause enlightenment. And uh, otherwise, even the Dharma is provided like a water flood, like a rainfall of like a Dharma transmission is given to the disciple, but the disciple is uh, not prepared, a pure vessel, and there's no sincere, wholehearted dedication and desperation and and urgency and wholeheartedness of um, the receiving of the teaching and valuing of the teaching, then even like a rainfall of Dharma given to the student may not gain realization, which is the actual blessing of the Dharma. So, when we learn Lamrim, when we learn any form of Dharma, this is the very initial preparatory, understanding that that we need to have. So here also, from here we can learn that we just have to conclude in our heart. If I don't have genuine faith, genuine conviction, sincere sense of renouncing the samsara, the delusion, the karma, sincere urge of liberation, the path, and sincere, wanting of the blessing of the path, the teaching, sincere respect to the guru, or the spiritual teacher, then we may gain intellectual knowledge, but we will not receive the actual transmission of the Dharma. You see, so that we have to be, we have to know, this is it. But then, if we have all of them, but then even during the transmission, that if we didn't even understand the meaning, even if we didn't learn the intellectual, the philosophical aspect, doesn't that much matter. The blessing is far more greater than knowing the words, so like that. So that's why, if we really pursuing for Dharma, then sometimes, we cannot depend on whether we feel the teaching is interesting or not, whether we feel the teaching is kind of pleasing to your hearing or not. You see, it very much have to depend on the purity of the lineage, then the readiness of your own devotion, then the actual, the purpose and the meaning of the Dharma. That's most important, because in today's time, sometimes there's a very danger, like we use the common language. Say, sometimes you happen to ask, someone, uh, you know, uh, how was the teaching, and say, oh, the teaching very interesting. There's a lot of new thing. There's a lot of new thing to learn, and very well spoken teacher. Use a lot of big words, and a lot of jokes, or very very unique, kind of presentation. A lot of fun. When I receive his or her teaching, I don't fall asleep. I feel like kind of like great entertainment. Sometimes, there's a this is how usually we use this kind of language when we go to attend entertainment, like movies. We say, oh, this movie is like, wow, so interesting. So as for Dharma, I think, we cannot base on whether you like to listen that Dharma teaching or not. whether 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 you feel interesting or not. You see, because most of the Dharma teachings are uh, uh, can be quite stressful, can be very hard to make sense, in particularly to our old habitual, worldly concern, eight worldly thinkings, samsaric way of thinkings, and the Dharma, especially if we learn Mahayanic Dharma like altruism. We are so habitual, always talk about me first, I first, only about me, me, me. But suddenly, the teaching always talk about others' well-being, give up about yourself, give up well-being of yourself, etc. And it is so difficult to digest, unless you have so much merit and unless you are really prepared. If you're first time listening, it is like, it's very hard. It's not easy. It may sound maybe great, but then when you think through it, it's very hard to digest. Then many do give up. uh, you know, it kind of against your interests, our old habitual interests. You see, so then even though you may, surprise, wow, but then eventually you may give up. So so pursuit of Dharma cannot be like that. Pursuit of Dharma. The hardship is necessary. Hardship is very essential to the success of the spiritual development. You see, in particularly in the practice of bodhisattva path. Like Lojong, altruism. You know, the bodhisattva's way of thinking is that even the enlightenment is provided you to actualize right now, the bodhisattva will refuse to do that. Rather, I should remain, you know, in samsara as long as sentient beings are there, to be among them, to benefit them, not to run away. You know, you see, so uh, so like that. So therefore, Dharma is Dharma can be very hard to understand, very hard to practice, and very lengthy time requires to really see the impact. It may take three countless years or lifetimes to really feel the effect of the teaching that we are discussing. We may not feel the immediate obvious 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 kind of impact, or obvious kind of sign, miracle signs, by tomorrow morning. So you see, so like that. So therefore, uh, when we pursue the Dharma, then even how hard it is, we have to stay put, to drill through it, to really uh, get the understanding, get the experiential realizations. Then also, even just to listen the teaching, how hard it is, we have to put a great effort. So we can understand from Atisha's journey to receive this transmission. Atisha already know, um, uh, all the wordings. Atisha know all the teaching in understanding on bodhicitta. He have in fact received uh, almost entire teachings, from India already before he traveled to Sumatra to meet Selingpa. But then he still put his own life in danger and travel, so that far, about 12 months, on the sea, great hardship. Uh, at the beginning of this Lojong treatise, we have read the Atisha's journey to Sumatra. From there we can understand how much hardship that he went through. Then even after receive the teaching, the teaching on the 7-point cause and effect is very short teaching, but himself stay put there to train about 12 years, to really to actualize the the realization, in his continuum, Mm. So that much hardship, you see. So from there we can understand. So as long as our preparation as a student of the Dharma is intact, then no one can stop you. No one, human, non-human, uh, uh, mm, including sickness and death, including interruption of life and the death. Nothing can stop you progressing on the path. Otherwise, like that. Once you met, once the delusion arise, can give up. Or meet one wrong friend, give up. Meet wrong teacher, give up. You see, so like that. So sometime in our own life, we see, we have a lot of pause through our spiritual journey, like ups and downs, like roller coaster in our study, in our reflection, in our meditations. When we check carefully, it's like not very steady. When it comes to earning job, unless the company don't give you a job, but otherwise if you get job, we work very steadily, isn't it? It's earning of the money, until you really fully satisfied your bank balance. You will, how heavy rain it is, how challenges it may be, you still go to work, isn't it? Very steady, isn't it? But in our spiritual life, I was like doing sadhana, listening of Dharma, retreats, practices, sessions. It's like this, up and down, up and down. I'm talking about me. It may not be applied to you, but like weak practitioner like me, it can happen like that. So that is not healthy. You see. So once we, so that is because of the preparation is not, preparation about our own vessel is not intact. It's because of that. So from this teaching, we can understand this. Verse 4, heroes of the great compassion, I have relinquished the object of attachment, endure hardship on the hazardous path, victory over the dark force, I have arrived here. So Atisha, so it's kind of like amazed, heroes of great compassion, the Sugatas and the Bodhisattvas that Atisha take as a witness of his determination and his steadfast commitment towards pursuit of this altruistic Dharma, heroes of the great compassion. I have relinquished the object of attachment. I have abandoned the object of attachment. Atisha is, from his lineage is a prince, king. So he relinquished, kingdom, relinquish all the sensual pleasures, worldly concerns, and fully renounce the worldly life and get ordained. So relinquish the object of attachment. So, I have completely relinquished the object of attachment and endure hardship on the hazardous path. So expressing that. So this is the journey, the historical journey that Atisha took to Sumatra to meet the Selingpa. So he's talking about endure the hardship on the hazardous path, very dangerous path. Victory over the dark force. But also on the journey, human, non-human, like animals, like crocodiles, etc. Or then most of all, the demons, the dark forces, were overwhelmingly, to obstacle his journey to pursue the altruism. So much danger he encountered, but he victory over all. Then expressing to, I as Atisha saying, arrive here, arrive to Sumatra, in front of Atisha, in front of Selingpa. So he's expressing this to Selingpa. So please grant me the teaching. I genuinely I really express in the witness of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, uh, uh, I genuinely, renounce the worldly concerns, and not only that, I really didn't give up, even though how hardship that I went through to receive this teaching. Mm. I didn't give up at all. I did encounter immense of hardship, but I didn't give up. So therefore, I'm qualified. So please grant me the teaching. So it's, you can imagine, like Atisha would do prostration, then kneel down, put the palm together, and put his forehead to the feet of the Selingpa, and might be, very, very respectfully voicing out, all these earlier verses, as you can imagine like that, you see. So, so from here, we can also, uh, learn like how, when we approach to our gurus, when we approach to our Dharma spiritual gurus, you know, uh, this necessary for our own benefit, necessary. There's a physical gesture, verbal speech, mental thinking, whole three, body, speech, and mind, should express in the veneration to your teacher. We cannot treat like your spiritual teacher like an ordinary friend, like your tea buddy, coffee buddy, your beach buddy, not like that. You have to you have to you have to you know see them in Buddha. If not, at least see them an emanation of Buddha. If that also not possible, at least see the qualities of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in this teacher. So then, you are pursuing, so if you're able to view your guru, your spiritual teacher like that, then naturally the tone of your speech already kind of will be ready how to communicate with your guru. The physical gesture will be, ready to how to relate to your teacher, you know then your heart will be, fully nurtured, how to relate to your guru. So that alone you create so much merit. That alone bring immense of purification, yeah. So therefore, uh, also to, in Tibet, when Atisha went to Tibet, then the disciple asked, how come, there are so many meditators in the hermitage, so many practitioners out there, but you don't see many gaining realization, how come? So Atisha said, you Tibetans, so that time he said, you Tibetans, uh, see your guru as an ordinary person, as like your own body, how to receive the blessing of realization, so that's what he replied. So you see, mm, yeah. So even when we, if we get opportunity to meet our spiritual gurus, even we want to, serve them, like even like drinks, there's a physical gesture, you know, um, hmm, the drink you're seeing as a nectar, then you're offering to the Guru Buddha, not just to the ordinary person. There's a physical gesture of so much respect, you see. So, uh, um, even that, like that, you see. So then when we talk, we talk with a bit softer voice than the Guru, and try to put all the respectful words, not like kind of like a two body, communication, two body kind of challenging in debate, not like that, you see. Then if you are, roaming around the guru, then being mindful, like, like you are roaming around omniscient person, so your behavior or body, speech, and mind, to be behave in a very subdued manner, very ethical manner, so something like that. Then in particularly, when you wish to request advice, teachings from your guru, then exactly here, like what Atisha expressed to Selingpa, you truly mean it, really, like in the witness of the Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and deities. Hmm? Uh, you don't lie to Guru. You really mean it. Then not only that, uh, if you're really asking advice from the Guru, asking teaching from the Guru, then you have to be ready to really embrace the Guru's teaching, the teaching that the advice, the teaching that Guru provides to you. In order to do that, our heart has to be open and clean. If we still have a lot of self-conscious, lot of our own ambitions, samsaric, worldly concerned ambitions, then you try to, you're hoping the Guru will say something that which will boost your attachment, boost your worldly concern. Uh, then there's no benefit of relating to Guru's teachings and Guru's advice, isn't it? You see, so sometimes we see, um, uh, you see, when a Guru um, not to kind of point out your faults, and Guru somehow kind of okay, happy with whatever you do, then you feel happy, well, Guru is so loving to me, but then Guru kind of start to correct you, then you feel upset. So why you feel upset? Because you have not let go of the attachment to your own old habit, your own old graspings. Your object of attachments are still very tight. You're not really released. Your heart is not open enough. You see. So with that, then it's so difficult to follow exactly what Guru say to us. So if we are unable to follow exactly what Guru teach us, Guru guide us, then enlightenment will be very far, very difficult to develop ourselves. So the why Guru is so precious, why Guru is the sweetest path, to our spiritual development, why Guru is the nearest, being to receive the blessing of the Buddha, is uh, is because of the instruction that we can receive from Guru by following correctly, both in action and thoughts. That's the way that we can able to sweeten our journey towards spiritual development. You see, so if we are unable to do that, then the Buddha's advanced teachings cannot channel into us. You see, so when before we listen to teaching, we receive advice from gurus, our heart has to be completely readiness, meaning relinquish the object of attachment, then you have to be ready that you can able to endure the hardship, endure the hardship through learning, through practice, never giving up, whatever comes in our way, even death comes in our way, sickness comes in our way, even loss entire our worldly fortune comes in our way, we'll never give up following Guru's advice, which is the Dharma, practicing the Dharma, So that much readiness, that much readiness. Then with that kind of readiness, then even just a brief instruction, one word of Dharma that given to you, it become a complete path to actualize the realization all the way up to enlightenment, like that. So all these things we can learn. So verse 5, now to help endure beings of ingratitude who are tormented by illness, I seek a teaching that helps conquerors incapacitation while in this filthy mire of samsara. So, so you are seeking the teachings, solely for the benefit of the noblest sentient beings, in particularly those who are in a destitute of destitute of protections, protections and healing, from sicknesses, etc. So so in order to help the hmm, whatever samsara, whatever that here I seek teaching. Atisha is expressing that I seek a teaching that which can able to be an armor, to yourself, uh, to relate, your life in the samsara, in the samsaric, among the samsaric being, whatever the other beings relate to you, in particularly negatively, that you have the armor of the altruistic dharma, to never to give up, uh, benefiting them, elevating them from the sufferings and the the the, the condemnations of the delusions. So you are receiving the teaching for that purposes. So in another way, the correct motivation to pursue the dharma is not for your own personal life to be abundance, liberated, but nothing to concern about others. So that's the wrong motivation to receive the teaching. You see, in particular, Maya and Dharma, if there's no altruistic motivation, then the teaching, the motivation is wrong. To receive the teaching. So teaching cannot benefit the ultimate goal. You see, so the correctness of motivation. Verse 6, to this, the great compassionate one replied, for you who have come here with great hardship, I offer the mind training called Stages of the Heroic Mind to help overcome fear and fatigues. So, to this, the great compassionate one, referring to Selingpa. So, Selingpa replied that, for you who come here with great hardship, I offer the mind training teaching Stages of the Heroic Mind to help overcome, all the fear of worldly concerns, fear of the graspings, including it is tendencies, the root egoic ignorance. To overcome that, I'm going to grant these teachings. So verse 7 onwards, so very much the Selingpa's, the continuation with the was a Selingpa's the teaching, very much presenting of the ground, the afflictions. So he says, through learning, the upturned vessel is averted. Through reflection, the broken vessel is repaired. Through meditation, the tainted vessel is cleansed. Discard this defect and take this inner nourishment. So very straightforward. So this is what we have to do. So you see, if we are unripened, unripened vessel, like a upturned vessel or broken vessel, or contaminated vessel, then we cannot, nurture, in a spiritual practice. We cannot receive. We cannot receive the Dharma nectar. So cannot contain the Dharma nectar within our continuum. So we cannot be developed, you see. So therefore, um, the unripened disciples will fall into any of these three kind of unripened vessel, either upturned vessel, or either broken vessel, or either tainted vessel, you see. So no way that we can able to receive the blessing. So how to make ourselves to really be able to nurture by the Buddha Dharma, how to really utilize the benefit of the Dharma nectar, the Dharma nectar. And the way to do that, or in another word, is how to progress ourselves steadily on the spiritual journey up to full enlightenment. The way to do that is through learning, through reflection, and through meditation. You see, so these three things we cannot separate. We cannot choose, either of it. We have to do all these three things together. You see, so we all the time should learn until we become Buddha. We should always learn the Dharma. We always reflect on the Dharma. We always meditate on the Dharma. You see, so that way we can able to discard this defect and able to nourish our inner spiritual development. It's talking about that. Verse 8, Alas, since time without beginning, as you have failed to subdue your own mental continuum, in this demonic house of your untamed heart, apostle of afflictions and karma enslave you. Alas, since beginningless time, so we are very much, so this was very much mirroring to see our true color from beginningless lifetimes, up to now, how we really look like, it's like very much showing the mirror to see your own reality. So the reality is, since beginningless lifetime, you see, without any interruption, without taking holiday in Pure Land or in Buddha realm, not like that. Consistently from beginningless lifetime, you have failed to subdue your own mental continuum, meaning you never overcome the influence of delusion. The subduing your own mind is meaning, your mind develop into altruism, develop into the wisdom. So these are the subdue. So you're unable to do that because of your mind is subdued by delusions. So therefore, you have failed to subdue your own mental continuum. Therefore, this very moment, our continuum is samsaric continuum, not an enlightened continuum, in this demonic house of your outer heart, So the demonic house of the outer, untamed heart. This demonic house of your untamed heart, So at this very stage, from beginningless lifetime, is very much like a demonic house. Why? Because it's full of delusions. Why we call someone as a demon? Because they have full of malice, full of aversion, full of anger, full of harmful thoughts, isn't it? So that's how we call demon. So our current mind is completely hallucinated by conceptual faults, the conceptual confusions, you see. So because of that, the whole mind itself is like a demonic house, so and that itself is the untamed heart, then the apostle, the follower of the affliction and karma, slave you, So from beginningless lifetime up to now, what you have been doing, you are completely surrender yourself to follow exactly what affliction asks you to do, and what the karma prevail onto you. You see, karma prevail onto you, which are the suffering, you see. So entire samsaric life is suffering, isn't it? The karma, because of the karma prevail onto us, that's why we call samsaric life. That's why we go through the suffering of change, and the pervasive suffering. We are very much like a slave to karma, very much here for us to endure the karma, you see. And these karmas are created because of we surrender our being, we surrender, our our capability under the control of the afflictions, afflictions, it's a delusions, you see. In short, we are completely, follow the instruction of self-grasping and self-cherishing attitude. Because of that, we only commit cause for suffering, which is called the karma. You know, then our existing from beginningless lifetime up to now is, you know, just endure the karma. Completely. How to say, to experience that coming result of suffering. So this is our true color up to today. Verse 9, because you fail to care for your parent, now when all sentient beings are suffering, you callously remain at ease and joyful, alas, will you not wear the armor of antidotes? Mm. Uh, so now, you see, why you become, all the true color of yourself that emphasize on the verse 8 um, is because of, then the verse 9, because of you fail to care for the mother sentient being, for your parents means numberless sentient beings, the mother, father sentient beings, numberless sentient beings. He said because of that. Now when all sentient beings, so right now, all those father, mother sentient beings, right now, they are in suffering, and still you casually remain at ease and joyful. You think you're still able to remain like that? It's asking you still you still able to, are you still carrying your life that way? As exactly like in the past from beginningless lifetime. You know, are you ready to continue to enslave to karma and affliction? Are you still not waken, not wake up from those faults that you committed from beginningless lifetime? Is very much cautioning to yourself. So will you not wear the armor of antidotes? We say, at this time, at this time, uh, is a very fortunate time of yours compared to many other previous lifetime. You see, so here you can understand, you can reflect on all the precious human rebirth qualities, like 8 freedoms and 10 endowment. While you're achieving that, like just simply in understanding of the Buddha came to this universe. Buddha still remain, and the guru, most importantly, guru, qualified guru. You have met qualified guru and is still revealing the Dharma. Then still, you casually remain at ease and completely get distracted with the sensual joyfulness, sensual distractions, and pursuing not pursuing the absolute meaning of life, mhm, which is the pursuing of the antidote. So it's just talking about. So will you not wear the armor of antidote? You see. So this we have to relate to ourselves. You see. We have to ask this question: will you not wear the armor of antidote? Will you not study the Dharma? Will you not contemplate on Dharma? Will you not meditate on Dharma? Will you not put effort to realize emptiness? Will you not put effort to actualize bodhicitta? Hmm? You have all the potentials, all the leisures and conditions. You know, you see, you have all the conditions are present. You will not do that. Hmm? Still, you're going to, you know, get distracted with the samsaric sensual, distractions. Hmm? The fact is, all the mother sentient beings are far more difficult, far more unfavorable situation than yourself. You know, uh, you see, so they are desperately need, you know, your help to them. Then one of the other reason is why you are why you are still suffering in samsara, because in the past lifetime you fail to care for them. You see, you fail to care for them. So now, by understanding that, now you take the full meaning of actualizing the Dharma antidotes. Verse 10. This self-centeredness is the neutral source of dispute. From now on, learn to turn it away. If you fail to conquer the demon of your mind, alas, will you not pose the threat to your parents' life? So this self-centeredness is the source of your own unhappiness and source of bringing suffering to others. You see, so therefore, from now on, you learn to turn it away. You see, you change self-centeredness, self-cherishing onto cherishing others' well-being. If you fail to conquer the demon of your mind this time, then then you will not pause causing harm to yourself and causing harm to other sentient beings. You have been causing harm to a numberless sentient beings from beginningless lifetime. By the delusion and the negative actions, negative karma. You see, so if this time you are unable to conquer the demon of your mind, then you will continue to harm similar way, like in the past, to all other sentient beings. Yeah, so this is so true, isn't it? You see, if we don't like the suffering, if we don't like samsaric way, then we have to wake up. Why we still suffer? Because of we didn't wisely care for ourselves in the past. That's why created karma. That's why we suffer. So if we truly care for ourselves from now on, then we need to we really need to overcome the delusions and the karma. Otherwise, we will continue to harm ourselves. No question about harming others, but harm ourselves. You see. So verse 11, alas, this is sure to destroy your happiness. This is sure to destroy your happiness. So if you don't overcome the demon of your mind, the delusions, then sure to destroy your happiness. Alas, this is the anchor of silent existence. If you don't subdue your mind, then this is the anchor of silent existence. If you do not bind the head of your negative traits, all beings may rise up as your enemy. So if you do not overcome one's own negative habitual mind, then continue to create the karma, then that way all beings may rise up as your enemy, because you cause harm to others, then others will come to harm to you. You see, you continue to cause harm to sentient being, you will continue to receive the karmic result of getting harm from others. Verse 12, and when the poisonous arrow strike at your heart, when the poisonous arrows struck at your heart, unless you are certain to be betrayed. So because of our mind is not trained, in altruism, then the poisonous arrows, like karmic consequences strike onto us, or karmic result of others' action towards us, like harming us, criticizing us, and causing our life, etc. Surely going to betray, surely going to hurt your heart. You see, but if you nurture in altruism, then even past karma ripen towards you. You know how to take them onto the path of enlightenment. You will be not disturbed. Even others, harm you. Even other beings harm you. Instead of you get harmed, rather you use that as a developing of your heart. So that way, you will not get betrayed by any means of the actions of the past or of the others. If you fail to expel selfishness, the stray dog and the thief, alas, even though your armor of antidote may be tight, you see, if you fail to expel this, self-centeredness, the root cause, the self-centeredness, then stray, stray dog and the thieves. If you fail to expel this, selfishness, which is like the stray dog and the thief, who is always disturbing, who always disturbing your peace and disturbing your virtue, disturbing, stealing, your virtue, stealing your happiness. Then, if that's the case, then even though you learn some Dharma, or even though you contemplate on Dharma, even though you try to do some meditation, even though you try to do meditation, you won't be able to protect yourself, you see, because the root cause of the suffering is intact, which is this self-centeredness, self-cherishing attitude, you see. So therefore, we need to put extra effort to overcome this, the root cause of all the suffering, which is the selfishness, self-centeredness, self-cherishing attitude. Once you get rid of that, then anything doesn't disturb you, anything doesn't harm you. Even with that, then even your practice of learning, practice of meditation, practice of contemplation may not be so supreme, but still you are very steady, of your ground. You see, like that. Verse 13, when disturbances occur within others, even medicinal wine may turn into poison. So because of unable to subdue the root cause, self-cherishing attitude, then when any circumstances, disturbance circumstances occur within our life, then even the medicines, the cure, even the medicines become harmful to you, you see. So when our system is disturbed with the self-centeredness, then anything can't help, you see. Even the Dharma also become even when you study Dharma, instead of helping, it boosts your ego. Even you reflect on the Dharma, you reflect wrongly. Even you meditate on Dharma, you meditate wrongly. Rather you boost your ego. You see. So so because of the root cause, the self-cherishing attitude is not subdued. Then so even the Dharma become unhelpful. Not only that, Dharma can also you, due to your contamination, it will contaminate the Dharma also. You see, so this could happen like that. So without slaying the life force of the five poisons, even if you generate courage is out of laziness. You see, so when you see, without slaying the life force of the five poisonous, you see, such as ignorance, aversion, attachment, then ego-centered, jealousy, etc. You see, if you don't overcome them, among all, self-cherishing attitude, if you not overcome them, then even you do certain kind of courageous practices, certain determined practices, won't help much, you see, because the delusion's force is very intact, you see. So therefore, first, you must know the ground of the negation, and then you must overcome them. You must how to say, first you recognize them, then you suppress them, or then you apply the antidote, or then you completely negate them. That should be the way. Otherwise, even you apply antidote, it won't be so effective. So it's talking about that. Verse 14, when you are swept away by the gale of short lifespan, alas, you will feel remorse from the depth of your heart. So when you are unable to overcome the delusions, then unable to develop, unable to fill your heart with virtuous accumulation, then not only we fail our this lifetime when we have the life force, but even when we pass away, then we will have a lot of remorse, from depth of your heart. You see, you will feel remorse from depth of your heart. This then, it is a great advice in the future. Examine your thought. You see. Mm. Or in another way, is when you able to subdue the delusion, this self-centered attitude, then even at the time of death, when we go through the most difficult time, one will not be disturbed, one will not be misguided, one will be guided virtually, towards the next life, Mm, mm. So you will have the capability to, examine or concentrate on your virtuous accumulation. So that way you can able to, cross the journey from this life to next life, beneficially, like that. So you can understand the other way or the one of the way. Verse 15, conceptualization is the king of all maras. Destructive traits are the executive lord of death. Self-cherishing is the tree of poisonous fruit. You who procrastinate, contemplate this defect. Mm? Mm. So the conceptualization, the conceptualization is a very, uh, very vast field. The conceptualization from this very, from this very tainted mind, all the way to the wrong view of absolute reality, all can be included within the conceptualization, you see. And most of all, the conceptualization, the most advanced one, is the wrong view of asserting seven phenomena in essential existence, or in inherent existence, or in other words, the self-grasping ignorant, you see, is the king of all the malas, you see. So the conceptualization here can refer to self-grasping ignorant, the grasping of inherent existence of self and phenomena, is the king of all the maras, all the harms. Destructive nature are the exclusive lord of death. So through this conceptualization, we develop all sort of delusions like attachment, aversion, etc. And that will uh, develop, the habitual destructive emotions, and that will lead to a very destructive, transition from life to death. That will make a very, very disturbing, disturbing, death, etc. Exclusive lord of death. Or in another word, in other understanding, is that due to the self-grasping ignorant, then you actualize all the destructive emotions like self-cherishing attitude, aversion, attachment, etc., and that will lead to destroy all the virtues, destroy all the meanings of life. Mm. So self-cherishing is the tree of poisonous fruit. So then self-cherishing attitude is the way that you grow, all the poisonous fruits, like such as all the negative karma, all the sufferings, all the karma and the suffering that what we experience in samsara, those 8 different type of sufferings, even in the human realm, the general suffering of samsara, 8 different type of human being sufferings, 6 type of human being suffering, 3 type of human being suffering, etc., etc. All these are the fruition of the self-cherishing attitude. So you who um, procrastinate, complete this defect. So if we are unable to um, negate them and negate the self-cherishing attitude and self-grasping attitude, then um, or if we delay to uh, to to overcome, negate the self-cherishing and self-grasping attitude, then the samsara will not end. Samsara will continue. Like that. So if we do not like samsara, if we want to overcome samsara, then we need to overcome the self-cherishing and self-grasping attitude. Mundane ambitions are filled with the betrayal. Samsaric ambitions are filled with betrayal. Or worldly concern are filled with betrayal. So how much we pursue, it won't fulfill your ultimate wanting. It will betray you. So therefore, overcome it. Worldly concerns, mundane ambitions. Abundance of support is but mere deception. The abundance of the worldly abundantness, like the physical comforts, sensual, abundantness of the sensual, the needs of the sensual attractions are mere deception. So not to attach, not to admire them, not to attach to them. The multitude of gods and demons are not other than trickers conceptualization, rise not to enemies. So the 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 disturbances, the multitude of gods and demons, whether we label them as gods, demons, form and formless, harm givers, they are not other than the conceptualization, the self-grasping attitude. Those are the enemy. The multitude of God and demons are not other than the triggers conceptualization, rise not as enemy. There's no end to the mundane task you undertake. So we should come to a pause, or we should end, and we should really put a pause and to practice the Dharma, or put the end to the mundane enduring, then practice the Dharma. Is talking about that. Otherwise, if we wait to practice Dharma until we finish our mundane task, then there's no end to mundane tasks. It's so true, isn't it? No conscience and integrity exists in those you nurture. Then we put so much effort, nurturing our friends, try to protect from enemies. It's someone so-called as a loved one, someone so-called as an enemy. We put whole life, uh, gathering, doing things for segregated things, doing, like gathering the resources to loved one, and try to, find every single protection to against the enemy, etc. There's no meaning in that. The conscience and integrity exist, those you have nurtures. So in reality, there's no integrity. uh, how much you regard some as a friend, some as a loved one. At the end of the day, everything, um, mm, uh, if relate to them with a worldly way, then there's a definitely exhaustion. Even in the love, there's exhaustion. Care is exhaustion. And betrayals, and dissatisfactions, etc. That's so true, isn't it? So one of the bodhisattvas' practices to renounce family and homeland. If you have a responsibility to take care of family, you do so. But what it means is renounce attachment, the the partial attitude, like serving, taking care of families and friends with so much attachment, desire, and that will betray you. There's no integrity in that. You see, so therefore, bodhisattva should renounce, attachment to the loved one, and including the families, like that. Uh, mm, the wealth you have hoarded is without essence, and how much wealth that we accumulate has no essence, no essence. So you see, so of course we you can get enough. Then after that, you dedicate your energy to take good care of your mental and physical health with virtuous accumulation, practicing of Dharma. Or in another word, you can continue to earn wealth, but then you earn the wealth for the benefit of, benefiting others, overcoming poverty of other poor sentient beings, providing medicine, shelter, etc. But then just accumulate wealth just to build your empire and just to be rich, then in actual reality there's no essence in just doing that. Even conventionally, many rich people, they don't find essence in the money, the wealth. They're full of money, but when their health is gone, the money can't save them. You see, if money can save their health, I think all the rich people, no need to die, no need to get sick, because they have so much money, isn't it? It's not happening, isn't it? Hmm? Then most important thing is that to live. But then when the death comes, money can't save you, isn't it? You see, so enough is important, but then over ambitious about wealth and thinking the wealth will save us, wealth will overcome sickness and death, and that's not possible. You see, so therefore, you know not to have so much attachment into that. Relinquish these sources of betrayal and downfall. You see, so it's very important as a practitioner of bodhisattva that we must relinquish, you know, the attachment grasping to the mundane tasks, to the uh, to the loved ones and to the wealth. So otherwise we won't able to practice altruistic dharma purely like that. Verse 18: the Lord of death reside in your own heart. So a lot of death, the betrayer of your meaning of your life, conventionally or ultimately, is in your heart, not out there. You see, so when we exhaust the merit to have the life force, then we dies, and not because of someone from out there come to cause harm to you, kill you. You see, so even someone really literally, hold with the gun and knife to come and kill you, is your karma. The karmic imprint is the one driving that, to condition you to cause your life. You see, it's a lot of death is in your heart. You see. Then a lot of death, you can understand the destroyer of the virtue, the meaning of the Buddha nature. You see, it's not someone out there, it's in your own heart, the self-grasping, self-cherishing attitude. So we have to understand that your life is being cut short by yourself. As cut short by your own karma. You see, no one else out there. We may say, oh, sickness is the one. The sickness is created by our own karma, our karmic imprint, right? The sickness is a ripening of our past karmic imprint. Then you may say, I never done wrong in this life, how come I get sick? We already discussed before, there's a beginning of the lifetime. We have this all habitual, like getting angry, getting stressed, attachment, aversion, a lot of intentionally and unintentionally, due to the ignorance and self-centeredness, we harm so many sentient beings, you see. So sickness, death, all is a result of that. So basically, not only people who are suffering now or who are dead, every one of us, even the healthy one, even the young one, even just first day of conceive in the womb, including that fetus, as long as come in this samsaric world, all are under the direction of karma. You see, so and that karma is accumulated in the past, is in our continuum. That ripen into our way, then sickness comes, death comes, like that. So therefore, we cannot, even the wrong food and the wrong air, wrong water, we call the global warming, this impure, this, then the environment causing me stress. That's why I get sick and this and that. Or sometimes even we blame to our parents, or our parent carry, the gene of, diabetes and gene of cancer. That's why I suffer. We tend to blame others. This is our ordinary way of thinking, samsaric way of thinking. But actual Dharma understanding is not them. Not parents are the one that causing you diabetes, causing you harm. You born in the environment of your parent who carry the diabetes gene is your own karmic expression. You see, the global environment is your own karmic, contribution, the way where you are, So you see, sometimes we blame our government, we blame, our friend, our partner. All those are expressions of our karma. It's not arise from their side in your life. Your karma is the one that who invited them in you in you see. So that's what I mean. Your life is being cut short by yourself. It is you who drink the poisonous water. So true. Mm? uh, the poisonous, poisonous water in the conventional and the ultimate way of interpreting, independent way of understanding. You know, Mm. you see, we ourselves generate. Sometimes we say, oh, because of him, I get angry. Because of him, I get attached. But actually, it's your own karmic imprint is the one that condition you to generate attachment to someone. Then you create the karma. Similar way, you arise the anger, you create the karma. You see, so the poison here can be understood the delusions. You see, so when we arise anger, we cannot blame. Because of him doing wrong thing. That's why I generate anger. No, you see, we have to understand it's because of my own impure mind. So therefore, if I do not like to get angry, then not to go and eliminate the foe out there, rather eliminate the root cause, uh, the grasping, the ignorant grasping, and the self-cherishing attitude. You just subdue your own mind. That way you can overcome. With certainty, beware of this demon. So with certainty. So here, Selingpa is really emphasizing us. Please make it very clear. This understanding. You see, never blame anyone out there. Look into our own heart. Be certainty, beware of this demon. Make sure now we understand. Now we understand what is the ground, the ground negation, the base negation, the real enemy, which is self-grasping and self-sharing attitude. Say, please be certain, no one else, nothing else out there as your negation, as your enemy, as a harm giver. Is everything is within our own continuum of this conceptual, uh, the con- the wrong, the conceptual ignorance and conceptual cherishing mind. This is the one. Verse 19. This defect of the self I've explained from my vast experience. Reflect deeply on this tale with uh, terror, and in the future understand it well. So is Selingpa very, very intensely, very, very making very clear, this defect of the self. I'm not just whatever I've taught before, Selingpa saying, it's not just kind of some kind of philosophical view or someone says so. No, my own self experienced that. I've realized the realization in this part. I'm expressing my experience. So there's nothing is wrong. Nothing will. There's no defect on my teaching. It's kind of saying that I explain from my vast experience, not only little experience, vast experience, absolute experience. So therefore, you as a listener, you as a student, saying that like us, reflect deeply on this tale with terror means intense. Not just okay, maybe like that. Okay, it says so. Not like that. Really, for us to deeply meditate, deeply contemplate, to make sure that from now onward, we never look for harm giver outside. From now on, we understood the harm giver is inside, and that comes in the two categories. You know, the in conceptual was the karma and delusion. Okay, karma and delusion. The delusion wise is self-grasping, ignorant, and self-cherishing attitude. Okay, comes in this. Oh, verse 20. Those that definitely occupy your heart, this multitude of chores threaten your life, lacking the thought to help others. May the great teacher attracts disdain. Oh, those that definitely occupy your heart, this multitude of this multitude of the pursuit of the worldly concern, the chores, threaten your life, threaten your meaning of life, threaten your precious human rebirth, the opportunity of precious human rebirth, lacking the thought to help others, and lacking the thought to help others, may great teacher attract. Lacking the thought to help others, many a great teacher attract disdain. So, as a Mayanic Dharma practitioner, if your main practice should be, the cherishing of others' well-being. If you are lacking of that, then all the past realize, great masters, great bodhisattvas, great masters, they regard your practice is unworthy, or your life is unworthy. Your practice is unworthy because of lacking of altruistic, attitude. So as long as lacking that, then your practice has not a great meaning. You see, your life has not a great meaning. So it's like that. So in order to actualize the great meaning of life, then the central practice of your life, central practice of your heart cultivation has to be altruistic dharma. Verse 21. The warriors who are drift of antidote, this negative friend threaten your spiritual practice. Warriors who are bereaved of antidote means people who are lacking of the antidote, lacking of the learning in the Dharma, contemplating in Dharma, meditation in Dharma, realization in Dharma, can be dangerous to your, can be regarded as a negative friend who will threaten your spiritual practice, your spiritual practice of learning Dharma, spiritual practice of contemplating and meditating, developing the realization, So these are called the negative friends, like the one of the bodhisattvas practice is to overcome negative friends. It doesn't mean that you give up them from your heart, your object of compassion, but you distant, people who are against learning Dharma, people who are against learning contemplation, people who are against, practicing the virtue, practicing altruism, you physically and verbally stay distant, because they will degenerate your development, your spiritual practice. Those never those never settled of the sensory object and complain. This mirror image practitioner threaten material resources. So those people who are very much meaning outwardly, pursuit of the worldly concerns, pursuit of the sensual objects, and who has a great desire, those who never settled of the sensory objects, who only who don't develop inner heart, but who only develop the external objects, external comforts, sensual comforts, and the complaints here referring to desire, who always, live a life with so much desire, so much grasping. This mirror image practitioner, so such even in the practitioner there are such practitioner, who don't develop their heart, rather who is very outward, focused on outward, and who has a lot of graspings. Then um, um, this practice threaten material resources. They are very much like the obstacle, the environmental obstacle to your practice. So you should, again, you don't give up from your heart object of compassion, but then physically, verbally, you stay distant from them. Otherwise, it condition you to also get distracted outwardly. Also, live a life with full of graspings. So then that will degenerate your practice. Is talking about that. Verse 22. He who is cognizer yet fail to return others cognize, such lack of the conscious is threat to all. He who fail to discard self-interest, unless he may deceive others through word of altruism. So in particularly, uh, mm, um, you know, uh, is a advice that mm, um, mm, even though he who is cognizer of, like such as aware of Dharma, aware of karmic law, cause and effect, aware of, compassion, bodhicitta, you know all these teachings, but yet you fail to return others' kindness, but you are not performing compassion in action when the needy sentient beings out there. Mhm. Such level of consciousness is threat to all. So learners or the practitioners can be dangerous to the spiritual environment. It's very much like they are faking. You see, they are not genuine practitioners. It doesn't benefit them, and it also can be harmful for themselves and the spiritual environment or the other sentient beings. Mm. In particular, threat to the Dharma. He who has failed to discard the self-interest, then who is not subdued the self-centeredness, in particularly here referring to like those, who hold the positions, like teachers, like sanghas, like practitioners, yogics, etc. He may deceive others through the word of altruism. Who who show like you are so compassionate, you talk so compassionate, you see, but then your heart is filled with the self-centered attitude, self-grasping and self-centered attitude. uh, then this kind of people will be threatened to the people, threatened to the others, threatened to the Dharma, threatened to the environment. It will bring deception. It will deceive others. In the name of the Dharma, like that. So, so if we are in that kind of category, then what we say and what we cultivate, and we behave in our very best in action. So as a true Dharma practitioner, whatever you speak, whatever you speak of the Dharma, whatever you think of, cultivate of those Dharma wisdom, then whenever you get opportunity, whatever you have to act, in your very best ability, you see, in your very best ability. Of course, we as a human being, ordinary, have limitations in our physical ability to benefit others, but you have to do in your very best. You see, so so these are the then is a true practitioner. Otherwise, if you contradict what you say and what you do and what you think, then it is, instead of beneficial, it could be harmful, to the Dharma environment, like that. Okay, so this concludes the teaching on the presentation of ground, the affliction from the mind training entitled Stages of the Heroic Mind, the first chapter. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Take care. Thank you very much. Okay, so we do a very brief dedication. So please dedicate these collective merits and the merits that are accumulated by past, present, future Buddhas. Like how the Bodhisattva Manjushri, Bodhisattva Cherisik, Bodhisattva Samantabhadra, how they dedicate the virtue for the benefit of numberless sentient beings. We too dedicate the same way, and also dedicate specifically to those people, people who pass away, those people who are sick, who are in trouble, those who have requested, my prayer supports from our gurus and people whom that we dedicate this collective merit for them to actualize accordingly all the benefits. Yawade Nudo the Lamazanjo to Unido Jamaluba de Zalango Barajo, Chanjo, some Jorin Boche Majabanam Kiju, Jawani, member and Konekondo Pevach, Tony Tower and Boche Majabanam Kiju, Jawani, and Konekondo Pevach, Remi Tower and Boche Majabanam Kiju, Jawani, member. Konekondo Pevach, Carrera, Vicovation of the Pendant de Malajo and Cheres, and what is the Gazo Shabe City, but the Tejo to Change and Mojave, the job of Kosovo. Chozongo Leme to Dobataso de Jekondo, Sharp, then show Jambepa, which is the Chamber of Kondo somebody, and this is the Dakoji, just so Dalo Jawa, the Datam, the Radon, to Sushi Jawa, Ogalachudo, Tadi Kevets or whatever. Sambo Jeje Rabdo. Okay, thank you very much. Take care. Take care.